What up, though, people? This is the Lion's Word vlog. We are on the books of Adam and Eve. The first book, chapter 27, is where we are right now. If you would like to catch up, all the rest of the chapters are posted on my page there. You can click on the playlist that reads the books of Adam and Eve, and you can catch up to everywhere that I am. There's also an introduction to these books. So if you've never heard of these books before, if this is your first time hearing this information, I strongly urge you to go listen to the first video in that playlist. It is an introduction video, and it talks about the history of the book, where it came from, who possibly would have written it, which more than likely was Moses. So because if you don't know that Moses was the one who was behind making sure that the Torah was written and given to us properly, handed down from audible, passing it down audibly until we were able to document and we were able to keep the medium, the papyrus paper, the scrolls, if you will, that they wrote on. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into chapter 27. All right. This says here, the second tempting of Adam and Eve, the devil takes on the form of a beguiling light. Okay. All right. When Satan, the hater of all good, I got the words mixed up right there. When Satan, the hater of all good, saw how they continued in prayer and how the Most High God communed with them, how the Spirit communicated with them and comforted them, and how he had accepted their offerings, that is the first man and the first woman, which is represented by the names Adam and Eve. That was not their names. Adam just means, first man or father of the living or humankind, the first of humankind. Eve literally means mother of the living. Okay, so that was not their names. All right. Satan, Lucifer, the devil, those are labels referencing what this being or what this spirit or what this energy was. Okay. Or is, if you will. All right. So please understand that. The spirit of the Most High would not have been moving around things during that time. Hey, where's Satan? Hey, where's Lucifer? Hey, where's the devil? It just did. That's not how it went. Okay. I'm just saying. Just like I talked to y'all and let y'all know, the term God, well, the word God and the word Lord was labels and terms that they were using. Humans, the English was using for themselves in their hierarchy and their kingdoms before they ever used it for the Most High. So his name really ain't God or Lord, just to be 100 with you. It's a label that is an English translation. So I believe that the Spirit understands that, and that on a certain level, well, the Spirit definitely understands everything because this is all knowing, all encompassing, all wisdom, all knowledge, all intelligence, all smartness, all depth, all anything good is come. So the scriptures also says anything bad comes from the Spirit also, but it's not in that state when it comes from the Spirit, meaning like it is maybe changed. And even though like it may have switched its spiritual or molecular root or like even its energetic output, it still is given life, and it still is thrust upon existence here through the higher spirit, through the Most High Spirit, through the more powerful spirit, if you will. But let's get into the reading. When Satan, the hater of all good, well, when he saw that they had favor, they would pray, they had favor, he made an apparition, or he made a fake image. Okay. So he made something, he generated something that was designed to trick them. He wanted to trick the humans. He didn't like the humans. Okay. That's what it just said there. He began with transforming his hosts. In his hands was a flashing fire, and they were in a great light. He began with transforming his hosts. Remember, as we've read up to where we are, it is said that that Satan, that Lucifer, the being that he had beings under him, and he had certain powers. So we've seen, and these things have started to be taken away from him, like his power to be able to speak to those beings, the early beings. Again, like I've always maintained here, they were not speaking English to each other. We have to get this sort of like thing out of our head where we think that, you know, because especially Americans have this thing of like, you know, it has to be what the American man or the American woman says that it is because we are the end all for the entire universe. America has that really bad. So when it comes down to different concepts of ancient sacred sources of different things like this, people have a hard time dealing with the fact that these beings were not speaking English to each other. Just because you think just because you think English has always been spoken on the planet, and that's the language that everybody speaks, and English are very ignorant of outside cultures as well. And that, when I say ignorant, that don't mean stupid. That means they willfully ignore, meaning like an outside culture feels the same way about their language, like it's sacred to them. But most us outside cultures still show a homage and respect to like the culture that is outside of them. The English is just disrespectful and rude, and they just want to try to contort and force everything to be exactly what they say that it is. These beings were not speaking English to each other. They were not even, who knows how they were really vibrating to each other. But what it's saying is that Satan or Lucifer or the darkened one or the lower one, the one who tricked them, the spiritual energy, the being, the essence, whatever it is, what it did, because we know it did something. When it says here it's transforming its host, you know, we could possibly there's a lot of things that can happen with science there. You need to only look at the bees and the ants. The queen bee can send a signal and a vibration through her colony that only she can send, and they will align with that signal. And if any of them does not align with that signal, at that point, that one is going to have a problem because they're going to be the outsider. It's going to be highly noticeable. They're all going to know it. Why? Because once she sends that frequency, they're all on that same frequency. And anything that's not on that frequency, they all notice it. Okay? Ants are the same way. If they want, if there's a signal or some information that is sent, they're all going to have it. They're all going to start aligning. They're all going to do whatever that energy is, whatever that signal is. I'm sorry, whatever energy the signal is sent within. That's how the beings, those ants, those bees, and there's other species that they have that. So here it's saying this being, whatever it did, it caused something that was designed again to trick the humans. Now let's read and see what happens. So he begins transforming his host, or he begins communicating to his host to get them to do something. He begins engaging his host, and his hosts are responding to him, you know, for whatever he's doing. So it's saying here that he transforms his host. In his hands was a flashing fire, and they were in a great light. Okay, so there's a reaction. Okay, and then after he did what he did, here's this great light. He then placed his throne near the mouth of the cave because he could not enter it by reason of their prayers. Remember, in the previous chapter, Adam and Eve are there praying fervently, remember? And he so this kept that lower spirit, that darkened spirit, their prayers kept that spirit at bay because that spirit could not deal with the frequency of their prayers. Just even their prayers. Think about that. That's really powerful. So, and he shed light into the cave until the cave glistened over Adam and Eve, while his hosts began to sing praises. But you have to understand there, sometimes when you hear that sing praises, or a song being on the tongue, or a song that certain individuals or certain parts of the creation knows that no one else knows, that's a vibration. In English, you know, in our language, a song is a type of a vibration. We take controlled vibrations that mean something, that have very much a good, beautiful flow to them, and we put them together, and it's a song. It's specific, okay? A song is a specific vibration because no matter who's there, if they're all singing it, everybody's on that vibration. Do we understand? So it began to be on the same frequency, or the same, they began to sing praises, or they began to enact a certain vibrational pattern, even if you will. He then, I'm sorry, and Satan did this in order that when Adam saw the lights, he should think within himself that it was a heavenly light, and that Satan's hosts were angels, and that the Most High has sent them to watch at the cave and to give him light in the darkness. So higher beings, okay? Or higher energy, higher spirit, higher essence, higher vibration, if you will. Because even the light and the lack of light is dealing, you can deal with that in terms of vibration. It's not taking away the Most High being real, or changing the doctrine. I just think it's really smart. So when we deal with these things, that we plug in the science sometimes behind it, so we can understand it even better. Like, I don't think that this mindset of like the church needs to be fighting with science. Oh, we're so against science. Only those who take science and try to use it as an idol. That's the problem. You can't make science the God. You understand? So let's keep moving. So while the host began to sing praises, and Satan did this in order that when Adam saw the light, he should think within himself that it was a heavenly light, and that Satan's hosts were angels, and that God had sent them to watch at the cave and to give him light in the darkness. So that when Adam came out of the cave and saw them, and Adam and Eve bowed to Satan, then he would overcome Adam thereby, and a second time humble him before God, trying to trick. When therefore Adam and Eve saw the light, fancying it was real, thinking that it was real, they strengthened their hearts. Yet as they were trembling, Adam said to Eve, "Look at that great light, and at those many songs of praise, and at that host standing outside that do not come into us. Do not tell us what they say, or whence they come, or what is the meaning of this light, what those praises are, wherefore they have been sent hither, and they do not come in." In other words, Adam is starting to get a little smarter and more intelligent, and he like, look, man, wait a minute now. Why they not talking about? So he's starting to know. So again, even there, when he said to Eve, we don't know what those praises are. You got to understand something. They're mimicking. So even in mimicking, if Adam had not been smart enough, he could have gotten tricked. So that tells you right there, in and of itself, with the praise or the admiration or the song that's going forth, perhaps it's a literal process of vibration or light or whatever that energy is at that point. We following? Let's just keep reading. Look, and by the way, most of the times when we read, these things are going to be revealed. They're going to, as we continue to read, things are going to be opened up and expressed, and certain things are going to be there kind of almost subtly sometimes, that you have to be really paying attention to catch it, and it's going to happen all the time. So y'all just read with me. If there are certain things that you feel like, oh man, who says that? Oh, he's making a new doctrine. And no, I'm not. Just keep reading and keep listening. Keep listening, keep coming and pushing, playing. You're going to see what the Most High is doing. Okay? So, let's keep reading. Okay? So Adam's like, man, look, why they ain't come in here? That we don't know what that is yet. Basically, like, I don't know. And I'm sick of Adam at this point. Is like, man, I'm sick of doing wrong. I'm sick of every time we do something, here comes something else. So let's start really paying attention to what we're supposed to be doing here. Yeah, which is smart. Very wise by Adam. Okay? If they were from God, or if they were from the Most High, they would have come to us in the cave and they would have told us their errand. In other words, he's getting used to how the spirit interacts with them. And he's starting to notice this spirit, this energy has not interacted with them in the same way. Okay. Then Adam stood up and prayed unto the Most High with a fervent heart and said, O Lord, the O highest one, O leader, is there in the world another God than you who created angels and filled them with light, or created beings, higher beings, and filled them with light, and or filled them with energy, filled them with life, filled them with your spirit, right? And sent them to keep us, who would come with them? But lo, but here, but check it. We see these hosts that stand at the mouth of the cave. They are in a great light. They sing loud praises, or they have this vibration that seems right. If they are of some other God than you, tell me. And if they are sent by you, inform me of the reason for which you have sent them. Okay, powerful. No sooner than Adam had said this, than an angel from the Most High appeared unto him in the cave and said to him, O Adam, fear not. This is Satan and his host. This is the darkened one. This is the one who tricked you and his people, his beings. Okay? He wishes to deceive you as he deceived you at first. For the first time, he was hidden in the serpent. Okay, let's keep reading, but I'm gonna come back to that. But this time he has come to you in the similitude of an angel of light, in order that when you worshiped him, he might enthrall you in the very presence of the Most High God. So check this out. The spirit comes to Adam and says the first time he was hidden in the serpent. So now, again, if they were in a different state, and this is even indicating and even confirming, if they were in a different state, the spirit is saying that same deceptive darkened spirit was in the serpent. It was in the serpent. Like it was in meaning they would have known what the serpent is, but he's like, now it's coming to you as something totally different. And so now we're starting to see, hey, even if, like what I'm saying, they were in a different state and the serpent and them were in the same sort of a state, but just different beinghoods, like in different, sections or different categories of beings within that state, it's still saying that deceptive, darkened spirit, the spiritual energy was in that serpent as it was. But now it has moved to something else. Now it's appeared and made an apparition in a totally different form. So now we have to look at the fact that you and I here. Now we have to look at the fact that we're dealing with something deeper than just even physical when we talk about Satan, Lucifer, and even the Most High God. We're dealing with something more than physical. Okay. Because it just said it right there. He's like, look, this is in different states now. We're going to see as we continue to read through the books of Adam and Eve, it's going to get way more explosive, and it's going to get way more clear that this being, this spiritual energy, this darkened force is a little bit more, how do we say, mystical than we think that it is, because we're still trying to understand it, just like probably the first humans were still trying to understand it at this point in our reading. So let's keep reading and see what happens. So then the angel went from Adam and seized Satan at the opening of the cave, because the angel, that higher being, had just told Adam, like, this is what Satan, this is what he's doing, this is what he's there to do, right? So then the angel went from Adam and seized Satan, seized the lower one, seized the darkened one at the opening of the cave, and stripped him of the faints he had assumed, of the state that he was in, and brought him in his own hideous form to Adam and Eve, who were afraid of him when they saw him. And the angel said to Adam, this hideous form has been his ever since the Most High made him fall from heaven, or made him remove himself, or made him be down from the high place that he was originally at. Okay, understand? He could not have come near you in it. Therefore did he transform himself into an angel of light. The spirit just hit me, and I just got to say, and even in my own mind, before I end this video, because I'm going to end this video here at the end of this chapter, then I'm going to start a new video for the next one. We're going to try and make these videos a little bit shorter here. What if this books of Adam and Eve and this beginning is a metaphor for what's going on inside the body? What if Lucifer, Satan, what if the Garden of Eden represents the spark of the mind and intelligence and the thought process there and all these things that are going on and the spirit and the energy that's able to perceive, whether with physical eyes or even spiritual eyes or even mental eyes or your ears or even eyes also, understand that, then, you know, because blind people, they see through their ears. You better understand it, and you better understand it very sharply too. So just think about that. Like, you know, does it take anything away from grace against salvation, against the sacrifice of Yeshua? No, not in my book, not in my mind, not in my head. I'm not even presented like that. But you have those people that would think like, oh, he's reading from the books of Adam and Eve. Oh, he's a heathen. Don't listen to him. That's foolish. It's foolish. It's just foolish. Especially when we're reading these books of Adam and Eve and we're clearly seeing the information within. I'm telling you now, man, like the spirit in me is aligning with this information. That's all I'm going to say. And I know that the spirit is in me. So, like, if this information was something that was not meant to be here or was meant to trick or deceive or be weird or something, the spirit in me would definitely be like, no, this ain't it. That's not what the spirit in me is doing. But I'm just saying, just think about the fact that because you hear about this, it's like, oh, the Satan was cast down from heaven to the low places. Or it's like, or we hear this thing of like, that Satan was like, because if you know about, if you've heard about what I'm talking about here, then you've already heard that, you know, this thing of like, oh, Satan got kicked from out of heaven down to the earth. It always like presses on my heart and incenses me is like to really press into it and ask like, why would the spirit of the Most High create this beautiful place where, because remember, the transgression of the serpent or of Satan happened way before the humans did, right? Before they were even created, per the books of Adam and Eve, and the scriptures relate that. So it's like, why would this being, because men say what they say, but let's just have this hypothetical little question right here that you can go off on your own and think about this or do your own research. Why would the Most High create this beautiful planet, this beautiful place, knowing what he's going to do with humans, knowing that this darkened one hates humans, or at least finding out that it's really dark and it just really ain't good? It's not going to send it to the earth per se that it just made. It just, even in my man mind, it doesn't make sense. Like if I'm going to create something good and I know it's good and I create something over here and this something over here is tripping, I'm not going to take the something over here and put it in where the good is. It's just not happening. However, let's say I create something and that thing oversteps its boundaries with something else that I create. And because of that, it causes this whole big old issue. Well, then now because that thing has imprinted itself onto the other thing that I love so much, maybe both of their states of beings now have to drop. Okay? So now where those beings were on this place over here that I loved and it was so great, this one over here, when it the one that's so negative, when it impresses upon them and when it does tricks them and changes them and does whatever it does, now they're all at that state of being where the darkened one is, because that was the goal of the darkened one. Understand? So let's just say if it was a state of mind, or if it was like a state of being, or like a spiritual understanding, or a process of their energy making decisions, their brain making decisions, or whatever it is, then it makes sense when you start to really think about the fact that perhaps the Satan or the Lucifer or the darkened energy is in the mind, and when it even starts, maybe it's like the capacity is always there, and these beings had to learn to stay away from it. And before they could do that, that energy itself came and said, hey, you know you could ABC 1 2 3. You ain't got to listen to him. Da, 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 this, that, and the third. And then all of a sudden, boom, the curiosity happens. And then now they have been cast down. They've been stricken down from their higher state. So now the toil in the mind, now the tricks in the mind, now the issues are in the mind. We understand? Now there can be deceptions in the heart and the spirit of these ones, these new early humans. You understand? So it's just always interesting to think about these things, especially when we deal with these concepts, because a lot of this can be highly metaphorical, parables, if you will, prophecies and things to be broken down, very picturesque. And a lot of it can be very literal. And then we're dealing with a time frame where anything could have been happening up in them times, you know. So let's hurry up and finish, because I'm almost done here. Okay. So this says, the angel says to them, this hideous form has been his ever since the Most High made him fall from heaven. Okay. He could not have come near you in it. Therefore, he did transform himself into an angel of light. So even here we see that this spirit, this energy can trick and can deceive. Okay. Or the mind. The battlefield is definitely always in the mind. Absolutely 200% certain. You know, like I always say, I ain't never seen no physical devil pitchfork, what they try to tell me what a devil look like. Pitchfork wielding, pointy-tailed, you know, horn having devil. I always see foul humans who do foul things in their brains and who let their brains trick them into doing foul, inhumane things all over the planet, thinking that we're supposed to praise them and cheer them on for it and call them so great. Those are the devils. That's the devil of all, whatever culture or language, whatever, whether it's the politicians or the street gang members who want to run around shooting up everything and acting like they just doing, they got so much power and they don't, whatever. Those are the devils. And everywhere in between, all throughout history, until they get wiped off the planet, which I happen to believe is currently happening right now. There's a lot going on our planet, and the frequency is raising so that it can get rid of all these foul devils. The devil energy is on its way out. It's over. And it knows it too. So, and just like the devil's energy knows it, the energy of light and the Most High knows that it is putting that energy off the planet right now. You better get aligned and get in tune with what's going on spiritually. Then the angel drove Satan away and his host from Adam and Eve and said unto Adam and Eve, fear not. The Most High who created you, God who created you, will strengthen you. And the angel went from them, but Adam and Eve remained standing in a cave. No consolation came to them. They were divided in their thoughts. So they just had to deal with it. They had to figure it out, deal with it. And when it was morning, they prayed, and then they went out to seek the garden, for their hearts were towards it, and they could get no consolation for having left it. I'm going to end this video here. So again, here they are trying to press back to that garden. They want to get back to that garden so bad. They don't even understand that they're not getting back to it. But their hearts are desperately for it because they understand that's where they came from. They know the difference. They were able to know that they're different. They know that. They know it. Imagine that. You fall from something so beautiful, so high, so enriching, to something trash because you just had to be curious and just do whatever you wanted to do. And now you got to eat that. That's where they are. Y'all come back for chapter 28. Peace.